Okay, team, today we're talking about Dharma, which translates to law, your own internal law, as well as the natural order of the universe. And this idea of Dharma is perhaps the most important concept from the East and the Western mystical tradition. And that is living in accordance with your deepest nature. This is what naturally creates flourishing in your life, as well as flourishing within your community. What I want to argue to you in this video is that your sole and only purpose in life is to become what you are, to live your Dharma. And every other piece of advice is secondary, or more probably dead wrong, if it's not encouraging you to follow your heart so boldly, my friends, and overcome the lies that you tell yourself. So, before we get into the personal quest towards Dharma, let's talk about why Dharma matters on a more cultural level. So, these ideas of law, of cosmic order, of harmony with nature, this exploration is the foundation of most of our religions, philosophies, and spiritual traditions across the world. The Greeks were obsessed with understanding the mysteries of nature. The Taoists, talked about the Tao, the way of nature. In fact, Wa from ancient Japan meant harmony, and it was the ideal their culture sought. And we actually even see Dharma, law, manifested into things like sacred geometry, the divine beauty inherent in nature, in the Fibonacci spiral of a seashell, or the ideal proportions of a great physique. Dharma is everywhere. And the more that we understand Dharma in the world and in ourselves, the more naturally we create flourishing, right? So that's the grand thesis of this video. I know that's a very big cultural idea, but let's talk about the personal quest and how this relates directly to your life. So I love this quote right here from Paulo Coelho. He said, "A man's only real responsibility is realizing his own personal legend, his destiny." This quote is from The Alchemist. And The Alchemist, it might come off as woo to some of my viewers, but The Alchemist is the central lesson of this book, I think, is the most important lesson in life. And that is to follow your heart boldly. You see, Santiago in this book, he receives this dream of buried treasure off deep in the desert. And he keeps being called to this dream, and he has to leave his flocks of sheep. He loses all of his money on this quest to go find his treasure, right? He meets all of these obstacles and he overcomes them. And then he was tempted to abandon his quest for his personal legend many times, right? He met this beautiful woman in a desert oasis and he falls in love with her. And he almost chooses a life as a rich consular, as a merchant, living out his days in the oasis with her. But the alchemist, his mentor, pointed out that settling would cost him his own personal legend. If he denied his personal quest, he would slowly lose the whispers of his intuition, the whispers of God, and he would never realize or fully actualize who he was meant to be, right? And the alchemist, helped him choose that path. But my question is to you and to so many people in the modern world, how many of us have done similar? How much of us deny the whispers in our own heart for, money, for a career path that the world told us to choose, for a relationship that's not working? You see, I believe that the entire world, your parents, your upbringing, and your own ego, they all have a conspiracy against your soul, against your Dharma. They want you to conform to them rather than manifest and actualize your solar light. And this is why having strong culture is so important. You see, a strong culture is supposed to fortify us, connect us to our deeper truth and roots and to each other. Culture is what is supposed to be the citadel for Dharma, or else entropy will take hold of everything and people will be lost. And this is what has happened. You see, the age of Dharma died long ago. We live in rebellion to our own natures. We are encouraged to satisfy our our lower nature through things like pornography, lusts, vanity, fame, all the things of the world, are trying to draw us away from our personal legend. We live in a world when we're growing up, we're taught to idolize things like money, science, intellect, comfort, and all manner of backward aims. We're never taught to follow our own hearts like madmen. And hence, there's this vast conspiracy against ourselves. And even if you are a leader, even if you're on the path of self-actualization, this conspiracy has rooted deep into your soul, my friends. There's ways that we have been trained to lie to ourselves, right? And these lies are so subtle, and it's because our ego is trying to be something we're not. And the whole quest, the whole thing I'm trying to inspire you to do on this video is catch those lies, realize what you're not, and come deeper into your Dharma. This is the great soul quest of our age, is shaking off the lies thrust upon you by your ego, by your upbringing, and becoming what you are. It's made 10 times harder today because we don't have that culture that venerates Dharma. But those who emerge triumphant will surely be the leaders to build the next culture, right? So let's go into recognizing what we're not faster. If you keep making the same mistakes, succumbing to the same addictions or patterns, or your life feels like it's full of resistance and pain, it's because there's an aspect of your whole self missing, a connection to your deeper nature that is yet to be made. And most pain, most constant suffering or misery we face is meant to lead us into a deeper understanding of ourself if we listen carefully and experiment boldly. The claim I want to make here is that we only learn our Dharma, our nature, by recognizing what we are not. And you can only do this through making mistakes. And if you're like me, you're very freaking stubborn. Hence, you'll be dragged through rock bottom for a long time until you learn the lesson. And let me give you an example of this. So I've always been rewarded for my intelligence. When I was very young, I was placed in gifted and talented programs. I was a very ambitious student. I wanted to go to an Ivy League school. I wanted to change the world my whole life, right? And because of this, I was told by my parents, by my teachers, that be smart, like study hard and you'll do great things, right? So I actually built my identity around my intelligence for 14 years, since I was 14 years old, right? And, the whole world told me like, oh, you're so great because you're smart. But this identity, this misaligned identity, led me to pure pain, so much addiction, loneliness, and honestly, like suffering of isolation in the desert for many years of my life. You see, I idolized the great cultural leaders, the inventors, the philosophers, and I forced myself to start reading nonfiction, trying to be hyper intellectual, right? And this fueled an addiction to stimulants, isolation. I tried to go against my more extroverted nature and become an introvert. I ended up building all manner of failed businesses, isolating myself. At one point there, when I was 23, I was convinced I'd be the next Nietzsche. Yes, I'm a grandiose soul. So I started writing this hellish nonfiction book, right? And it consumed me for 2 years. And I literally felt like Sisyphus, I think is his name, climbing the mountain with the stone over and over and over as I learned discipline. And I was just trying to force myself to be something that I wasn't. And we'll come back to that book because it's brought me a lot of insights. But regardless, all of this effort, this forcing myself led to great expense, great pain with little payoff. I was never that successful in anything I did until I let go of trying to be a philosopher, of trying to be Alex Hormozy, of trying to be some of these role models that occupied my mind for many years, like Nikola Tesla. And when I let go of that, I actually cried. About a year ago, I remember letting go of these dreams of being some great philosopher and realizing that's not who I am. I also cried when I let go of these dreams of being a professional athlete or a martial artist or a yogi or freaking Alexander the Great. At many points in my life, I've had to stare at a potential I once held as sacred, stare at it and recognize it's actually not me and let it go. And in doing so, right, I always find new role models that spark inspiration on my path for a time until I can distinguish what I am and what I'm not. And this just shows you the best example of this would be my YouTube channel, right? If we look at Wisdom Warriors, this started off as long nonfiction essays about Nietzsche, philosophy, the warrior's way. Those were so hard to write. They took me 30 hours to write and like even more to record and stuff, right? And I was just forcing myself because I really wanted to be successful. And 6 months ago, about a year ago, when I let go of trying to be a great philosopher, my YouTube channel changed. I just leaned into telling stories, writing what felt great, making videos like this, these longer form videos where I have more freedom to express myself authentically. And I also started being more extroverted. I was like, fuck doing things that always bring me misery. And guess what? I naturally attracted the best engineer, the best Promethean builder and philosopher in the world, my guy, Brennan, who is the CTO of the Retribalize app. He's here with me in Tulum. We're traveling the world together, and people are naturally coming into my life who fill out my character and my needs, right? Life is so much better. Creating content like this not only hits the right people right in the heart, right in the soul. My business grows faster, my YouTube channel grows faster, and I'm a lot happier. And this shows me something, right? Is that oftentimes we must be directionally correct. Yes, I want to speak on YouTube. I want to write books. I want to do these kinds of things. But by being directionally correct, you have to really pay attention to where is your Dharma within that direction. What is naturally you, which we're going to talk about discovering. And the more that you discover your Dharma, the more you naturally align with your tribe. So this is where we can actually return to philosophy for a moment. And I want to tell you about Aristotle. Aristotle's primary ideal that he thought from was eudaimonia, right? And eudaimonia means total human flourishing. I think this is a great goal to shoot for in life. This is my goal of high culture. How do we create this again, right? And this actually is fundamentally rooted in Dharma. You see, there's a deep idea in the ancient world, in the ancient Greek world, of inner harmony, of esoterica harmonia, right? And esoterica harmonia means playing the note of your own soul. I'm sorry, I don't have my camera on right now. It went out. But esoterica harmonia, the Greeks thought that your soul was musical. There's a certain note to it. And that by tuning your note correctly, it plays a beautiful chord. And when you tune your note correctly, right, and you find the others who tune their notes correctly, all of a sudden you create exoterica harmonia, or outer harmony. This is cultural harmony. And this is actually why Dharma, why your personal Dharma leads to high culture. By embodying your note and finding the others that are playing their note, you naturally find your place, right, within that archetypal map. And the whole sphere, the whole community starts playing beautiful notes together. This creates an orchestra of music. And this is why music is such a key to understanding the divine. I think this experience of group flow and group cohesion is in fact the highest spiritual experience in life, right? We all crave somewhere deep down inside of us to be a part of something bigger than ourselves and to be an instrumental note within that whole, feeling like we're a part of one music. We can actually see this on a well-functioning basketball team. If you've ever been on a sports team and you've been in the flow state, let's say you're playing basketball, you're hitting three-pointers left and right, but also your point guard, your teammates are passing you the ball at just the right moment. The defense plays are running smoothly. It's like the whole team is a well-oiled machine. And that machine is actually being supported. It's being engaged with by the entire stands, by the entire crowd. They're all cheering for you. All of a sudden, this whole thing takes on the feeling of a single orchestra, right? Of a greater body that you're a part of. And it's one of the highest experiences of life. Soldiers experience this in war. I'm sure these philosophers experienced it, in the height of Athens. You can think of being at a music concert or a festival or being in a startup. When you're in a flow state with other people, my God, it's like a deeply spiritual experience that we need. And this experience can only happen if we're performing our role. What is the first thing that a great football coach or a great basketball coach is going to tell you? Do your job, right? Like, do your job on the team. Don't try to do everything. Don't try to be everything. Do your job. And the more that you can just do your job, my friends, and realize what that is, the more that we create a culture of Dharma. You find your archetype within this map and you start resonating in harmony with the other archetypes. And this is the goal of this channel. This is the goal of my life quest, is like, how do we build new communities, new cultures that have a lot more flourishing and identity inside of them, right? And this is actually why me and my friends here are starting the Retribalize app, retribalize.ai. It's actually just launched and we're looking for, our first users. Everyone from my channel, the app will be free for you. And it's an AI matchmaker designed to understand your nature and goals and connect you with the most highly aligned people in the world. So you can start building real wolf packs, real communities, brotherhoods, and tribes around you. We need to reconnect to people who share in our quest for higher ideals. And this, just meeting one or two like close friends, like a founding team, makes all your dreams 1,000 times more real. It's time to go together, my friends. So come use the app. It's free for you right now, retribalize.ai. And let's go into our second example here before circling back to the steps. So how to follow your heart, your Dharma. A lot of this might sound so vague, so new agey. Like, what do you mean follow your heart, right? What I want to communicate to you is it is vague, right? Dharma is a deeply energetic thing. When you're in your essence, expressing the music of your nature, it is so joyous, but it's really hard to find the music of your nature. Hence, we must take the hero's quest of a grand experiment, of trial and error. So this is step one, and this is so important for everyone feeling stuck and for all the young men out there. Energize and experiment. The whole world is trying to get you to specialize. Oh, just do marketing. Oh, just study computer science. Oh, just be a philosopher. Especially in your younger life, aspire to be more of a Renaissance man. Go learn a new language. Study martial arts, right? Read books, get marketing skills, make content, become an engineer. Whatever it is, follow the subtle impulses in your heart, energize and experiment boldly. And this, my friends, really comes down to a second principle, which is freaking courage, right? I don't have it listed up here. It's actually down here. And that is do the brave thing. If we really want to come into our nature and our Dharma, it's going to look like at a couple critical moments in your life, doing the heroic deed. Throwing out the drugs and never looking back. Looking at this relationship. I was in a relationship for 5 years. Like, I loved this woman so much, but God, it created so much conflict in my life. And leaving that relationship behind, leaving my community behind, leaving my business behind, and going into the desert, unsure of where my journey was going to take me, was so brave. It was so hard to do, right? But in that, I had these thunderbolts of inspiration that have guided my life ever since. When we do the brave thing, that often looks like letting go of bullshit. There are things in your life that are lies, that are bad for you, but you keep them in your life because you don't know another way yet, right? And this is why courage is one of the first principles in life. Can we do the brave thing? Do small experiments of courage to start following our heart, or else we'll never take our hero's journey. And when you start doing the brave thing, like leaving a bad relationship, changing careers, starting the YouTube channel, leaving the addictions behind, you take an adventure, right? So take your hero's adventure, do the brave thing. That's step 2, right? Step 3 is on that adventure. If you don't want to just be miserable a lot, recognize what you are not faster. Learn these lessons, listen, right? So the worst thing that I think we can do in our lives is doing something we hate. If we do something we hate, it is the clearest sign that is not our Dharma. So don't do what drains you. Don't do what you hate to do. And don't try to be everything. Like, don't try to be what you're not. And spiral towards your unifying life project, right? So the faster you take your hero's journey, recognize what you're not, and try many things, you're going to notice these different threads that feel really good. For me, it's creating and writing, speaking. I love teaching as well. Also, I love being in brotherhoods. I love being in community. I love dancing. All of these things are starting to blend together into this kind of leadership that, feels amazing for me, like a unifying life project. This is what we're seeking, right? And what I want to communicate to you here is that Dharma, right, your inner law, creates and leads you straight to destiny, okay? A lot of people are looking for, what is the meaning of my life, right? The more honest you can get and the more experiences that you can learn from, the closer you get to your natural essence. And the more bold actions you can take on your natural essence, you see how to bring it into the world. And in doing so, you realize your destiny. These are the exact same things, right? So on this path, a couple tips for you, right? And the first one is right thinking. So right now, I think all of us, we might be a little bit confused on where's my passion? Where's my purpose? Where's my deeper ambition in life? And this is where we need to cut the noise, right? Like stop scrolling, stop doing these things that are very distracting, that are filling us with images from the world. And we need to journal our rawest thoughts and desires. Maybe go out into nature, take a hike, and key into the whispers of your heart. This is what the vision quest, the sacred masculine initiations used to be about letting go of the world and going to pray with God, to have a deeper vision for your life, a deeper felt sense of who am I? What gifts am I here to bring into the world? And Ralph Waldo Emerson praised this quality in self-reliance. He said, quote, "Trust thyself. Every heart vibrates to that iron string." In a world of constant stimulation that we live in, my friends, that's pouring slop through your eyes and ears relentlessly, trusting your own thoughts and feelings is revolutionary. And when you start trusting yourself, right, you can begin to find the things that bring you mild joy. Oftentimes, our path, we have these sparks. We see a dream on the distant horizon many times, like writing fiction. And the moment I try writing fiction, it brings me mild joy. That's a sure sign to go that way. I've talked about these other things in right action, like don't do what you hate, let go of bullshit faster, take the adventure. And I think as you're taking right action, learning your lessons, the thing to be looking for on your journeys, my friends, is right relationships. You see, when Santiago was out in the desert and almost abandoned his personal quest, it was his mentor, the alchemist, that set him straight, that reflected to him what he was and what his destiny was. And this is why we need to find our brothers, find our tribes, find our mentors. The monk mode mentality is not effective for where we need to go, my friends. So start surrounding yourself with proper men and mentors who don't tell you what to be, but reflect to you who you are. And understand that by you manifesting your Dharma, you come into a harmonious relationship with others and with the world, right? And if you want help doing this, again, my friends, come join the Retribalize app. It's going to connect you to the best people in the world, people straight from my YouTube channel. And also, I do run the Men's Academy, where we're connecting men, we're building amazing things. All these links are in the description. So go together. And final notes for you here is things that you can reflect on is like, what do you thrive doing? What do you do best? You can read a book called Ikigai, which is the Japanese secret to, purpose in a sense. And the final thing is basically life is an invisible staircase, right? You're not going to see this unifying grand project for your life until you take many wrong turnings, but you execute on each step in front of you. The faster you can execute on the initial intuition, the impulse you feel right now, the quicker you can reject or deny that mountain or that path in your life. And this video you can click on right here, the invisible staircase method, goes very deep into this entire diagram of how to find purpose and actually live it. Ultimately, my friends, your own personal legend, you must earn it. And if you want to earn it, be bold, listen carefully, and find the others. Peace.